I'm Eric Hurst, Public Information Officer with South Metro Fire Rescue, and I'm standing in the burn scar from the Chatridge 2 fire, which started just before 10 a.m. on Monday, June 29, 2020. The fire grew to 461 acres before it was fully contained. Thankfully, no injuries occurred and no structures were damaged or destroyed. Fire investigators determined that an electrical malfunction on a power pole sparked this fire. In this video, you're coming with me to watch what happened on the ground and in the air from the beginning of the incident until it was contained, to see the tactics that were used to bring this fire to an end as quickly as possible.
South Metro Fire, what is the address of the emergency?
Douglas with a transfer.
9744 Chatridge Court.
About how big is the fire?
I'd say it's probably half an acre so far, but it's growing really fast.
Engine 40.
Okay, about how fast are the winds moving out there?
Metro Engine 15, West Douglas Fire, Safety 18, District 1, Battalion Chief 1, Metcom Ops 3,
Okay, so over an acre.
Map page Z22 B9650, Chatridge Court.
Yeah, why don't you come on up, Troy, up Chatridge. I was worried that we might be moving towards the structures with the south, but we've had a wind shift, and it's these ones on the north side that I think we need to worry about.
Yeah, just coming by. It looks like 40 says a good hit on the right flank.
Command Division Alpha, we're at the heel, targeting it down, and we're going to work this right flank. Oval attack.
Copy that.
And then that left flank as well. They can pick up where we left off.
Stand by your resource request. I'm trying to talk to the helicopter here. Hold on just 1 second.
Is also with you in Division Alpha.
Hey, for my bad eyes on, they're just getting their gear up.
Copy, thank you.
Chatridge Command, brush engine 155 is on scene, looking for an assignment.
Just to the west of the second structure.
That's correct.
It really helped us with structure protection at that initial home, and that homeowner had done a great job keeping lush green grass around the house, having mowed vegetation beyond that before you get to the open space, and there's even some areas of a two-track or some area that's been plowed away and it's just down to dirt. All of those things slow the progression of a fire getting up to the house. If this
the structure protection group from down here up to the backcountry, and you're also going to get brush engine 41.
LZ. We would like to start working the head of the fires. That's the area working closest to structures, and see if we can get a little cut on that and start working the flank back. You do have ground hazards via power poles. We got a double set of lines on the ground. One set of high tension and one set of low tension.
So we got MMA, multi-mission aircraft that's flying the fire right now. They're looking at hot spots, and then they can tell us the size. So what Scott's doing right now is he's pulling up the footage. So they fly it and they literally download the footage. So that's some of the footage right there. Scott's getting ready to print it for command. and then we'll hopefully have a size here in a minute for the PIF.
Breaking news with mandatory evacuation orders for a subdivision and trails in Douglas County because of a rapidly moving brush fire. Copter 4 is live over the scene of the Backcountry subdivision. Earlier, South Metro tweeted out videos of firefighters in place to protect 2 homes. That area is very dry, making it dangerous for crews on the ground. They have named this the Chatridge fire. Again, a live look from Copter 4 of the area just north of Laviers. This started on Chatridge Court in unincorporated Douglas County. There is a mandatory evacuation for all of the Backcountry subdivision and trails to the south in Highlands Ranch. We have already seen copter support for firefighters, but they are now asking for an air tanker. The Douglas.
Break all units on scene. Urgent traffic. Urgent traffic. Air tankers coming in.
Skydance just east of the Sundance House. We'll keep all units on Skydance. The Sundance House is full of civilians right now. We still have a fair amount of time, and just heads up, we still have people on the trails in the active zone. Stay firm, and I need you to redeploy some brush trucks up to the backcountry. If we can't get it where they're at right now, it's going to make a hard push into some heavy scrub oak and run right up the hill.
Multiple very intense flame fronts are headed towards the backcountry community. The volume of fire and the heat that it produces is simply too much for firefighters to get in front of and make a direct attack. Firefighters use 4x4 brush trucks to attack the flanks, and they're helped by helicopters and slurry bombers. This aerial view gives a scary perspective on just why backcountry was evacuated. One of the many factors includes only 2 ways in and 2 ways out of this community for everyone to safely evacuate and for emergency responders to safely get into the neighborhood to do their work. With multiple flame fronts approaching the neighborhood, it was simply too difficult to evacuate individual streets, not knowing where the fire would hit first and where it would hit last. That's why the decision was made to evacuate the entire neighborhood. Approximately 90 minutes went by between the emergency notification to leave and when flames grew very close to Skydance Drive. This gave residents ample time to gather all of their family members, pets, medications, and important documents and leave before things got worse. While things look very scary from this angle and you can see visibility dropping, the view from the ground is simply terrifying. The narrow streets make it very difficult for groups of large fire engines to get where they need to go and also allow residents to safely evacuate the neighborhood. Visibility continues to drop, and the fear from the approaching visible flame starts to grow. Aircraft working very close to the homes and to the streets also create a dangerous environment for people who are not aware of what's going on with the incident, and that's why we need people to leave as soon as they get the notifications.
I need them to hit this north end hard right by these houses. We're just getting about 50 yards from the road.
Here you can see 2 different plumes of smoke from 2 different flame fronts, both heading in different directions, but towards homes. This is a dangerous situation.
Structure Protection Command. Yeah, one more time.
Fire retardant airdrops were just one tactic used by firefighters here along Skydance Drive, where the fire started impacting the backcountry community. Firefighters on the ground were also doing a lot of work. It includes this wide bulldozer line that was dug in the grass to become a fire break for this short grass to be easier for firefighters to extinguish. They also used a direct attack with 4x4 brush trucks to come straight at the fire because the flames were small enough to safely approach. Other firefighters were protecting homes. While the direct flame contact was unlikely, we worry a lot about ember cast. So we have lots of debris and burning and smoldering material flying through the air that could ignite things on or around the homes.
We're going to try and time, but otherwise they'll bring it down the hill.
Okay, copy. The station location for the type 1. I'm trying to orient. big head of fire directly to my east. Is that your location where you're at?
Yeah, so you look and you're empty.
Stand at the start of the guy's property.
Yeah, I've got Brush 36 back in service here, awaiting a final. Are we sending them to structure protection or somewhere else?
I want the Golden Rig and Brush 36 to go to structure protection.
Copy structure protection, and that's off one running structure protection.
Hey, Keely.
Brush 36 covers one northwest corner, working to Hawkins truck. Copy that, we'll enter
And again, which direction is this fire moving? I know we were told originally that this began near the intersection of Chatridge Court and US 85. If you can confirm that for us, and then also tell us kind of which direction this is headed based on these winds.
Exactly right. The fire started at the corner of Highway 85 and Chatridge, and it moved to the east-northeast. It's been variable in some terrain, but roughly an east-northeast direction is how it's traveled. It is very similar to the Chatridge fire, which occurred in October of 2016. That's why we named this the Chatridge 2 fire, is it's eerily similar in how it's burning and exactly the point where we're at right now. I'm standing where firefighters stopped the fire from progressing any further into the neighborhood. And this is also a very important location because of the neighborhood pond that was used as a dip site for helicopters. This allowed them to fill with water and dump the water on the flames and make very quick turnaround times. This location is also very close to where the contracted helicopter from Douglas County is stationed near Highway 85 and Titan Road.
Bravo Resources, this is a live run coming in.
Copy. Fairmount 34 is 5 overhead. 34 covered.
Breaking news in Douglas County as a brush fire threatened some homes earlier, but fire crews were able to tackle it quickly.
More than 460 acres burned, but the flames are now fully contained at this hour. A mandatory evacuation order was issued for the backcountry subdivision, which includes just under 1,000 homes.
No one woke up on the morning of the Chatridge 2 fire thinking that could be the day that their house or their neighborhood was at risk of burning down. But that's exactly what happened.
I'm here in the backcountry subdivision at the intersection of Skydance Drive and Spirit Rock Point, where structure protection is in place on these homes from the...
That's why it is so important for you to prepare ahead of time for emergencies, and you can start today. The first step is visiting your county sheriff's office website and making sure that you're signed up for emergency notifications. Those will come to your phone, through text message or email to alert you if the worst is happening. The second thing you should do is make sure that you and your family are prepared to evacuate or shelter in place at a moment's notice. The third thing you should do if you live in a wildland-urban interface area is research ways to make your property and your home safer and more resistant to wildfire by creating defensible space. If you live in South Metro's district, you can send an email to reducingrisk@southmetro.org for more information.